Howdy all, it's Shane. Welcome to the In the Blues Tone Podcast. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few different topics and suggestions, as well as some questions from the In the Blues forum at intheblues.net. If you're not already a member of the community over there, definitely check it out. I got asked a question from Freaking Prawn, who's actually from Portugal, who asked me a couple of questions about the Fender Mustang amps, and I thought I'd put this together in a podcast because that way I can explain it a little bit easier than sort of typing it out to everyone all the time. So if you are interested in the Mustang amplifiers, this is a bit of a frequently asked questions that Freaking Prawn has put together for me. So anyway, let's take a look at these. So the first question is, how does it take dirt pedals in front of it, meaning the Mustang amplifiers? Now, this is a bit of a mixed question. I think it takes pedals like tube screamers really well and distortion pedals. The ones that tend to color the sound more, they'll sound fine. Do they sound better than the built-in effects? Not really, no. I did an A/B test between the tube screamer preset and an actual tube screamer, and I couldn't really hear any difference. I didn't see there really being a benefit other than the one benefit of being able to basically toggle the controls really quickly. That's the only thing. If you want to adjust the tube screamer that's built into the Mustang, you have to go over to the amp and sort of fiddle with it that way. That's probably the only downside to using the built-in effects. The other thing I didn't like about some external effects, like the Klon works best pushing an already dirty amp or pushing a tube amp over the edge, and it didn't do that at all with the Mustang. It's not a tube amp, so it's not going to give you a very pleasant sound. I didn't like that particular effect on the amplifier at all. But tube screamers and say a DS1 distortion pedal by Boss or something like that, they'll all sound fine through the amp. If you do want to set it clean and use your pedals, go ahead. But if you're using a volume boost pedal or stuff like that, it doesn't sound as pleasing as it would through a tube amp. Just use the effects that are in the amp. That would be my suggestion. Get one of those 4-button foot switches and you're done. You can set it and forget it. That's what I love about that. He also says, how does it take pedals on the effects loop? Great. I've used reverb, I've used delay, chorus, all of those through the effects loop when I do my demos. There's a couple of demos that I've used the Mustang for, and yeah, it sounds fine. I have no problems using that at all. The next question was, would I recommend it for amp emulations alone, so without using the effects? Yes. Yeah, the Supersonic preset's great. The Tweed presets are awesome. If you just want an amp you can use your volume control on your guitar and still get great tones, then you can use it that way as well. You don't need to use the overdrive effects. They're just there, to complement your sound and make it better. If you choose to use it that way, better meaning more diverse, I guess, as well. So you can use it as, an amp on its own with no pedals or no effects or presets on the patches, or you can add reverb, you can add delay, you can add tremolo or whatever you like. And yeah, it's pretty sweet. You can use it whichever way works best. So the next question is there a benefit to using the Fuse software over just using the amp and the built-in controls to get the different types of tones that you want from the amp? I find it's easier using the Fuse software. I find that looking at the screen and seeing what order I have things in the virtual effects loop is a lot easier that way. And yeah, it's a good tool for tweaking. If you already have a sound that you like, then there's no reason to use the Fuse software. If you just want to fiddle around and see visually what the different amps look like and make a correlation between like Marshall amps and Vox amps and all that stuff that's built in there as well, then definitely use the Fuse software. You don't need to use it though. It's just a little bit easier for certain things. Organizing your pedals and all that kind of stuff can be a little bit easier on the Fuse software, but you can do it fine on the amp. So if you just got the amplifier and you don't have access to the net, or your computer doesn't work with USB or whatever, then you don't need it. You absolutely don't need it. You can just use the amp. Most of the presets actually that I've made were by ear, just literally by playing and then tweaking the amp and playing again. So yeah, I save them that way. Then I dump them into the computer or have a look at them on the computer and tweak them further if I need to. But yeah, you can absolutely get a great sound out of them without having to use the Fuse software. So the last question is, can you record directly from the Mustang to your computer, or do you need a sound card? You still do need a sound card to record. All the software does, or not all it does, but the thing that it does is it's basically like a computer on-screen visualization of the little LCD screen that's on the amp. So you're getting it in full color. It's basically just the amp talking. You're talking to the amplifier via a nice, user interface. That's all that is. It's not like a USB hardware, audio interface to be able to record. It doesn't do that at all. So the Mustang is most definitely not a sound card, but it does have USB connectivity just for the software that it comes with. Another advantage though of the Mustang is you can record via the XLR outputs on the back to a sound card, and you actually get a really nice emulated amplifier sound. I think it sounds fantastic, and yeah, I've used that on a few of the demos as well. So a huge thanks to Freaking Porn for the questions. I absolutely appreciate that. It was sent to my inbox on INTHEBLUES.net on my forum, so definitely check that out if you're not already a member. The community's growing big time, and I'd like to thank everybody for being a part of that already.